So you go to a country, you don't know many people, you try to save as many people as you think you're saving or making a difference, and you meet the people and disengage and leave. I think when you're a Palestinian and you're helping other Palestinian patients and colleagues, you cannot disengage. Some of these patients are here in the hospital. Some of these patients are in another hospital in Jerusalem. I visited the father of one of these paralyzed young men who we saw in Gaza. And so you can't easily disengage, and that's what's painful, because you sort of feel that there's a human being. That's a story for each person. They're not just demonstrators on borders. And they're just not just demonstrating because they're violent. They're demonstrating because they're regularly under violence for the last 11 years. The average age of all these young men is 25. So these people have lived nothing but siege, basically. So they were 10, most probably, when Gaza was completely blocked from the outside. And so they've lived 2 wars, and now economic situation. So I don't know what hope is there. If you visit the patients after the few days, at least the patients we visited who were transferred to East Jerusalem, you could see how depressed people are. There's hardly a smile. I mean, you're not obliged to smile, but people in Gaza are usually very pleasant and very welcoming to anybody who comes from the outside or who they don't know. But you could clearly see how all these young men are depressed, and as well as their families, because they know there isn't much hope. Yeah, I was saying how this is a generation that's been exposed to violence inflicted on it regularly. So you can imagine what it does to the psychology to start with. And then these young men maybe were heroes that day in the demonstrations, and all of a sudden they look at themselves and they see how disabled they are. The sad thing is that not only is Gaza a country under siege or an area under siege or under an onslaught of violence continuously, it is not equipped to manage so many disabled people, let alone the fact that these are all young people. And anyway, there's unemployment, so we're not talking about their burden on the society and the economic burden as a whole in Gaza and the poverty. There's lots of high rises in Gaza. It's such a densely populated. Most of the homes are on stairs and in high rises, and no elevators. And I mean, some buildings have elevators, but there's no electricity. Most of the time, the elevators don't work, except if you're so well off that you've fixed let's say, generator for an elevator, which is very costly. So you're talking about continuous dressings. You're talking about mobilizing these patients back and forth to places to perform dressings. You're talking about wheelchairs, let alone wheelchair access in the house. How do you know? I mean, the dense population means smaller housing as well. So how are they going to access bathrooms, access their homes? I mean, there's a whole spectrum of caring for a disabled population that I don't think people have started realizing, or they have started realizing, but I don't think anybody knows how to confront it yet. I know some of the missions now are talking about sending people to deal with also prosthesis, but prosthesis comes once the wounds heal. I mean, these people still have severely unhealed wounds and comes after reconstruction. So it is a big burden. It's a burden that is not going away, and that is not going to go away today or tomorrow. And what's sad is that they were breaking news on the 14th of May. They are already old news today. And I'm sure that everything anyone can do will make a difference. Even for that one person, you might be able to make a difference.